Hello, thank you very much for joining us again. Today we are continuing with our PHP advanced coding, and the last time we saw few things. We saw on the homework actually when he was working on the homework, we saw how to do the homework using the question mark, select, and then we pass argument or exactly values at the level of execute. So today we are going to continue. Thank you. You are with your mentor Remy, and I'm coming from Technolab, where technology get created. This is the ICT Academy that is helping thousands of people who are living in underprivileged communities. These are people in villages, refugees, and the likes. So what Technolab does is going there, training people, equipping them with the skills and knowledge about computer programming, entrepreneurship, and also introducing them to e-lancing to make sure that they connected to the jobs, they get jobs as long as that the scarcity of job is almost everywhere in Africa. So that's why we are training you this, and we are also going to be having different people, guests coming here to talk about different things so that we can be free and developed. So thank you very much for joining me today. And now what we are going to do, we are going to have to insert data into our database using our PHP command or code. So we are going to write codes that are going to to insert content into PHP. And also another thing, we will change all our code to functions so that we can be able to reuse these codes in the future. We don't need it to be executed automatically, no. We want the codes to be able to execute as we are going to be using them going forward. So we changed this already, but it's not fully changed because we just surrounded it with a function. We need to do a few things to make sure that it will be useful. And as you remember, function is supposed to be taking argument. So yeah, when you have the parameter, then you are saying that this function will take in something. As we remember, we looked at that. So we're going to add argument because for this function to be working well, it needs to get this because it doesn't know where this particular variable is coming from. So we need to pass this variable. Apart from that, the rest is fine. So whenever we are calling this function in this particular space, we need to pass the object of audio or POD. So the PDO, yeah, PDO, so that it can be able to know and to understand exactly what it is. So I will change this to for totally to that, and I'll maintain the same name. I'll maintain the same name, DBA, so that when we are passing this one, if I change here, I have to change here, and I don't need to confuse you. So this function now will be able to work, and I'll do the same to the other line of code that we used yesterday. It was yesterday. I don't know. So this is function, and this will be get one. So what we are going to do with this, we are going to also to pass two arguments, so that we need to, when you call it, you can pass any argument. Get one student by ID, get student by ID, student by ID. Right. So okay. All right. So this is going here. So we need to change this one, but also we need to change this one. This one and this one will be passed during the calling. So okay. So we have DBA database access object. But we have STID, and this is the student ID. So you pass student ID, you pass also DBA, and you're good to go. So with this, we're good. We're fine. We are going to get exactly what we want, and we can choose to remove this or not. But now let's leave things the way they are. So the next thing I will build here, I'll build another function now today to insert. So we are going to do the inserting of data into database, and we're going to create a function, and this function will be having how many content we should pass to the student. So let's see the structure. Our structure is the ID, name, and location. ID, name, and location. So with this, I think we need to pass only name and the location. So if that's the case, then our method or function will be having two parameters to pass to give it, not pass, give the function two parameters. Actually, three. It need to be three because for also the DBA three. All right. Good. After that, I want to see all of it. After that, what is? Okay, what is? I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go. So let's now let's now go to the function itself. So function, and this will be add new. I love this camel case, but let me use the normal new student. And yep, add new student. I said here we have three parameters. So if that's the case, then we have the first parameter, which will be DBA. The second parameter will be name, st name. The third one will be st location. Yep, st name, st location, and DBA. Yep, good. So what we're going to do now, we're going to have our statement. Okay. We can have any kind, right? What was that? STMT, because it's locally, so it's not going to disturb anyone. The DBA, and we say inside DBA we need to access the method called prepare, and in the method prepare we need to pass this particular thing. So what are we passing there? We are passing insert into students. Remember, we are having specific columns, so we need to specify those columns, and we need to specify the values. Okay, so on the part of the columns, we are going to say the column one, we need to pass his name, and the column two, we need to pass his location. Right. So here on the value now side, remember when I was looking at prepare, we said you can use the naming or you can use the question mark. So we are going to pass question mark that we need this argument, they need to be passed here as we go, and then we are good to go. So we cross this one and we come here, we say st statement execute, execute. And in here is where now we pass our two arguments, stname and location, right? So with this, we can have one more thing. We can have one more thing. Remember that when you execute the object stm, the method execute return boolean. So we can check if it's true, if it's success or false, if it's not, by saying stmt statement. So because it's Boolean, we don't need to compare it with anything because it will turn either true or false. And that means we'll know if it's true, it will say echo student is added. Okay, new student is added. New student is added. Or if that fails, if it's false, we're going to say, if it's false, we're going to say echo failed to add new students. Remember to close your line, otherwise we'll be meeting unnecessary challenges, and then at the end of the day, to be issues. All right. So we have our method, we have the method to get all, we have the method to get one student, we have this method to add a student in the database. All right. So with this, want to now add the student. So remember we call the method or the function. Oh, you will understand my method renaming, but we call this function and then we pass needed, the needful things so that we are able to continue, right? So what we are going to say, we're going to say add a new student. And now we say the object of DBA is DBA itself. And for now, we are going to add manual, but this and the next will be coming from the user interface. So at this level, we are going to add manual because I want you to get me well. So here we are going to say DBA. Then here we are going to say what? We're going to say Chibade Ndikumana. This is Chibade Ndikumana, and we are going to add the location is Kasungu. Kasungu, where is that area, man? If you're going this other Mbali ya chini. Kwamazi, yeah, Kwamazi. You understand. If you haven't been there, please take time, reach to Kasungu Kwamazi. I don't know if that place exists. So I haven't reached there. So please do that for me. Reach there, find out, and share in the comment that it was a very good place or whatever you found out there. And yeah, we can add more. We can add another student, but I will go with this. I have no need to add many students because there's a lot to go from here. So with this done, then our code should be working. But remember one thing. In prepare, we should put exactly SQL code. So this is like what we could have been doing on the part of this is what we could be doing where we could be at this particular level. You remember what I was doing here? Or we could do this, or we could do this. So this exactly thing, this is the thing that instead of doing it here, now you're doing it on the PHP code so that you can be able to make that code interacting with the user, and after that you can go ahead, right? Yeah, and I think on my comment I should define where they're coming from, these parameters. So the A is what? PDO object, PDO object, while name is a string username, and the st location, not sign, not SQL, but sign. Okay? This one is string user location. All right. We know what we want. We have set them, and now we want to execute it. So this function has to be anywhere, and at the end of the day, we'll see what we can do with these functions that we have created so far. But they're all going to assist us to access, to add data, to get data. And with this setup here, if you do any other thing, this data will be this person will be added times two. So you need to be careful, and you need to make sure that you don't recall this particular script from the server. Otherwise, Mr. Chibade will be added twice or three times or four. Every time you will call this, make sure that you have changed here, because we haven't connected it with the with our what our interface, user interface, to make sure that user fill the information and those information come so far this way. And that will be the next lesson after we add this. All right. So with that in mind, let us now go to the execution. Here is where now we want to see that is it happening or not. And if you remember well, our code is now in method, in function. So this means that only the function that is here is the function that will be able to execute. Only the function which is here is the function that will be able to execute. Otherwise, the list, even though they're in here, all of them, but they'll be able to do nothing at the end of the day. All right. So let's go back to code. Let's see what will happen when we click this. So we'll refresh this. They say new student is added. How are we sure of that? We can go back to our codes. And now instead of this, we can call our get all students. We're going to call this function get all student, and we are going to do that at this level. And for us, we are going to comment this to make sure that we know, okay, maybe is this true? Are they real added? And then we put our line crossing symbol here. So from there, we go back here and we call this back. And they give us Oscar Banda, Chimwemwe Kamatasi, Ndikumana Simon, and the Awachibade Ndikumana is here. So yeah, it's true, it's working. We can go ahead and add another person, or we can say, okay, one, two, three, four, five. I don't know the Chibade ID, man. But let me try to get the Chibade ID by using this function here, which we created. And this function will be here. So you see now how functions are easy. They're not distracting or trying to shine. And here, let me say number six. Let me say. So one, two, three, four, five, six. I think. Let's try that. If he's number six, he will show up. If he's not, then bus. So we want to see user number 6, and we do that. Yep, Chibade and Humana is at index number 6. ID yake and ID number 6. So tikuta umupeza bwino bwino osakutika osa osakayikira kuti timpeza bwanji. So with this means that it's happening, it's being added, yeah, and zinthu zikuyenda mmene timafuna ziziyendera. Thank you very much for being with us up to this point, and we are going to be coming with another video which will be having now the interface of adding and the interface of showing the data. So we are moving from doing things within only PHP. Now we are going to involve a little bit HTML, and we are going to make sure that all the things are going easy, well, and understandable to you who is taking time to learn and understand these things. So thank you very much for being with us. This is from Technolab, where technologies are being created. We empower we empower change maker, developers, and entrepreneurs to be able to lead, take over, and assist in their communities. It is with you, trainer Remy. Thank you. Have a good time. Have a good time.